You think Google searches the internet? It doesn't. Every single day, billions of people type questions into Google. How tall is Mount Everest? What's the capital of Japan? Why is the sky blue? And in less than a second, the answer appears. It almost feels like magic. But here's something that might surprise you. Google doesn't actually search the entire internet every time you press enter. If it did, even one search could take minutes, maybe even hours. Think about it. There are hundreds of billions of web pages online, with thousands more being created every single second. Searching every single one of them from scratch every time someone asks a question would be practically impossible. So how does Google find exactly what you're looking for almost instantly? The secret is that Google has already done most of the work long before you ever type your search. While you're sleeping, working, or watching videos online, enormous networks of computers are constantly exploring websites, organizing information, and building one of the largest databases ever created by humans. When you finally type your question, Google isn't beginning the search. It's opening a giant index that has already been prepared. Imagine walking into a massive library with billions of books. If none of the books were organized, finding one specific answer could take days. But if every book had already been sorted, labeled, and placed exactly where it belongs, a librarian could find the right one in seconds. That's essentially what Google has built for the internet. But that raises an even bigger question. Who is organizing all of those billions of web pages? And how can they possibly keep up when the internet changes every single second? That's where the real story begins. To understand how Google works, we first need to answer one simple question. Why can't Google just search the entire internet every time you type something? The answer comes down to one thing. Size. The internet is unimaginably huge. There are hundreds of billions of web pages online, and that number keeps growing every second. New articles are published. Videos are uploaded. Online stores add new products. People create blogs, forums, and entire websites every minute. If Google had to visit every single page from scratch every time someone searched for something, it would take far too long. Imagine asking a librarian where a particular book is. Now imagine the librarian has to read every single book in the library before answering your question. You'd probably be waiting for days. Instead, libraries use catalogs. A catalog tells the librarian exactly where every book is located, who wrote it, what it's about, and much more. Google uses a very similar idea. Instead of searching the live internet every time, it searches something called an index. An index is like an enormous digital catalog containing information about billions of web pages. It doesn't need to visit every website during your search because it has already collected and organized that information ahead of time. This is one of the biggest reasons Google can answer your question in less than a second. But building an index with information from billions of constantly changing websites sounds almost impossible. So who creates it? It isn't done by people. It's done by millions of automated computer programs that spend every second exploring the web. These programs are constantly discovering new websites, checking for updates, and adding fresh information to Google's enormous index. They're known as web crawlers, and they're about to become the hardest working characters in this story. If people aren't building Google's index by hand, then who is? The answer is tiny automated computer programs called web crawlers. You might also hear them called spiders or bots. Despite the names, they're not physical robots crawling through the internet. They're software designed to explore the web automatically, 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. Imagine dropping a robot into a city with one simple job. Walk into every building. Look around. Write down what's inside. Then follow every road you can find to the next building. That's essentially what a web crawler does. It starts with a list of known websites. It visits one page, reads its contents, and notices all the links on that page. Each of those links leads to another page, then another, and another. By following link after link, the crawler gradually discovers millions of websites spread across the internet. Every time it finds a new page, it collects important information. The page title, its text, its images, its headings. its links to other websites, and dozens of other details that help describe what the page is about. Then it sends all of that information back to Google's enormous data centers. But the crawler's job doesn't end there. Websites are constantly changing. News articles are updated. Products go out of stock. New blog posts appear. Entire websites are redesigned. If Google only visited each page once, its search results would quickly become outdated. That's why web crawlers never stop moving. Popular websites that change frequently might be checked many times a day. Smaller websites that rarely change may only be revisited every few weeks. The crawler is constantly asking the same question: has anything changed since the last time I was here? If the answer is yes, Google's index is updated. This continuous cycle of exploring, collecting, and updating is happening every second across billions of web pages. But even after all that work, Google still hasn't answered your search. The crawlers have only gathered the information. The next challenge is organizing all of it so that, when you type a question, the right answer can be found in less than a second. By now, Google's web crawlers have explored billions of web pages. But collecting information is only half the job. Imagine if someone handed you every book ever written and said, "Keep these organized so anyone can instantly find the exact page they're looking for." That's essentially Google's next challenge. Every piece of information gathered by the crawlers is sent to massive data centers, where it is processed and added to an enormous index. Think of the index as the world's largest digital library catalog. It doesn't simply store web addresses. It stores information about those pages. For each page, Google records things like what the page is about, what words appear on it, when it was last updated, what language it's written in, and how it connects to other pages across the internet. The actual process is far more complicated, but the goal is simple. Make every page easy to find later. Imagine someone asks you to find a recipe for chocolate cake. Instead of opening every cookbook ever published, you could simply look through an organized catalog that tells you exactly which book contains the recipe and on which page it appears. That's exactly what Google's index allows it to do. The index is constantly changing. Every day, millions of new pages are discovered. Millions of old pages disappear. Others are updated with new information. Google's computers are continuously adding, removing, and reorganizing information to keep the index as accurate as possible. This is one of the biggest engineering challenges on Earth. The index contains information from billions of web pages and is stored across enormous networks of computers inside data centers around the world. Those computers work together so that no matter where you are, the information you're searching for is already waiting nearby. By the time you sit down and type a question into Google, almost all of the hard work has already been done. The pages have been discovered. Their information has been organized. The index has been built. Now all that's left is for Google to figure out which of those billions of pages is the best answer to your specific question. Now comes the moment we've been building toward. You open Google. You type your question. Maybe it's something simple like, "Why is the sky blue?" Then you press enter. Most people imagine Google instantly rushing out to search the entire internet. But that's not what happens. Remember the giant index that Google's computers have been building for years. That's what gets searched. Instead of exploring billions of live websites, Google opens its own enormous catalog of information. In just a fraction of a second, thousands of powerful computers begin working together. They scan the index, looking for pages that match your search. At first, this sounds easy. Just find pages containing the words you typed. But imagine you search for the word apple. Are you talking about the fruit, the technology company, the record label, or maybe the color of an apple? Google has to figure out what you actually mean. It doesn't just look at individual words. It tries to understand the entire question. It looks at how the words fit together, the context of your search, and what people usually mean when they type similar questions. Then, within milliseconds, Google narrows billions of possibilities down to just a handful of pages that are most likely to answer your question. But here's something even more impressive. Finding matching pages isn't the hardest part. Choosing which one deserves to be number one is. If thousands of websites all answer the same question, why does one appear first while another end up on page 10? That decision is made in less than a second using hundreds of different signals working together. And that's where Google's ranking system becomes one of the most fascinating pieces of technology ever created. Finding pages that match your search is only the beginning. The real challenge is deciding which one deserves to be first. Imagine you search for, "How do airplanes fly?" Thousands of websites explain the answer. Some are written by aerospace engineers. Some are written by science teachers. Others are outdated, poorly researched, or filled with incorrect information. Google has to sort through all of them and decide which results are the most useful. But how? Many people think Google simply counts how many times a page uses the words you search for. Years ago, that worked much better than it does today. Some websites even tried to cheat by repeating the same keywords over and over again. A page might say airplanes fly hundreds of times just to trick search engines into ranking it higher. Today, that strategy doesn't work. Instead, Google looks at hundreds of different signals. One of the most important is relevance. Does this page actually answer the question the person asked? Next comes quality. Is the information clear, accurate, and well organized? Then there's authority. Has this website built a strong reputation over time? Do other trustworthy websites link to it as a reliable source? Google also considers freshness. If you're searching for today's weather or the latest smartphone, newer information is usually more helpful than something published 5 years ago. But if you're searching for a historical event, an older page might still be the best answer. Google also tries to understand your intent. Suppose you search for Jaguar. Are you looking for the animal, the luxury car brand, or your local sports team? The same word can have completely different meanings. Google looks at the words around your search and patterns from similar searches to predict what you're actually trying to find. All of these signals are evaluated incredibly quickly. In less than a second, Google's systems compare thousands of possible pages and rank them from most useful to least useful. That's why the first result isn't simply the page that mentions your keywords the most. It's Google's best prediction of the page that's most likely to answer your question. But here's something even more interesting. Even if you and a friend type the exact same search, you might not see exactly the same results. Why? Because Google also considers who's doing the searching. Here's a simple experiment you can try. Grab a friend, sit next to each other, and both search for the exact same thing. You might expect your screens to look identical, but they often don't. Sometimes the differences are small. Other times, they're surprisingly noticeable. So why does this happen? Because Google doesn't just look at the words you typed. It also looks at the context of your search. One of the biggest factors is your location. Imagine you search for pizza. Are you looking for the history of pizza? Or are you trying to find somewhere to eat tonight? Google assumes that, in many cases, you're looking for nearby restaurants. So someone searching in New York will probably see completely different results than someone searching in Tokyo or Mexico City. Language also plays a major role. Even if two people type the exact same words, Google may show websites written in the language they're most likely to understand. The device you're using can also influence the results. Someone searching on a phone might be shown pages that work especially well on mobile devices, while someone on a desktop computer could see slightly different results. Time is another important factor. Search for Olympics during the games, and you'll probably see live scores, schedules, and breaking news. Search the exact same word a year later, and the results will be completely different. Google is constantly adapting to what's happening right now. In some cases, previous searches can also help Google better understand what you're looking for. For example, if you've recently been searching for cameras, then searching for the word Canon probably means you're looking for the camera company, not the historical meaning of the word. The goal isn't to give every person the exact same results. The goal is to give each person the results that are most useful for their situation. This is one of the reasons Google feels so incredibly fast and accurate. It's not just finding information. It's trying to predict which information will help you the most. But with so many websites competing for the top spot, there's one more challenge Google faces every single day. stopping people from cheating the system. Imagine if anyone could make their website appear as the first result on Google. The internet would quickly become a mess. Every search would be filled with misleading information, fake websites, scams, and pages designed only to get clicks. That's exactly what some people have tried to do for years. Early search engines were much easier to fool. Some websites discovered that simply repeating the same keyword hundreds of times could push them higher in the results. A page about shoes might repeat the word shoes over and over again, even if the content wasn't helpful at all. Others hid keywords in tiny text or matched the background color so visitors couldn't see them, but search engines still could. These tricks worked for a while, but Google adapted. Today, Google's systems are much better at recognizing low-quality content and attempts to manipulate search rankings. Instead of rewarding pages that try to cheat, Google focuses on pages that genuinely help people. Its algorithms look for signs of trust, expertise, and usefulness while also identifying suspicious behavior. For example, if hundreds of strange websites suddenly link to the same page, Google's systems may recognize that as an attempt to manipulate rankings. If a page is filled with misleading information, copied content, or excessive advertisements, it may rank much lower or disappear from the results entirely. Of course, this isn't a perfect system. The internet changes every second, and new ways of manipulating search engines appear all the time. That's why Google is constantly updating the way its search engine works. Some updates are small and happen almost every day. Others are major changes that improve how Google understands websites and evaluates quality. Most people never notice these updates. They simply search, click a result, and move on. But behind the scenes, Google's engineers are constantly working to make sure the best information rises to the top while low-quality content stays out of your way. And now, search is entering another major transformation. Instead of only finding pages that contain your answer, search engines are beginning to understand the meaning behind your question itself. For most of Google's history, searching worked like this. You asked a question. Google found the best web pages. Then you clicked one of them to find your answer. But recently, something has started to change. Instead of only showing a list of links, search engines are becoming much better at understanding language itself. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence, they can now understand questions in a way that feels much more natural. Years ago, people often searched using short phrases like, "Weather New York," or "Best pizza near me." Today, you can ask complete questions. What should I wear if it's going to rain this afternoon? Even though that sentence doesn't contain simple keywords, modern search engines can usually understand exactly what you're asking. AI also helps Google understand relationships between words. For example, if you search for the tallest mountain on Earth, Google knows you're probably looking for Mount Everest, even though you never typed its name. It can recognize that different words and phrases often mean the same thing. More recently, search has taken another big step forward. Instead of simply showing links, AI can generate a quick summary that combines information from multiple trusted sources. This helps answer many questions immediately while still giving you links if you want to explore the topic in more detail. But even with all these new AI features, one thing hasn't changed. The search engine still depends on the enormous index built by its web crawlers. Without that constantly updated collection of web pages, AI wouldn't have reliable information to work with. In other words, artificial intelligence hasn't replaced the foundation of search. It's made it smarter. Behind every answer is still the same incredible system of crawlers, indexes, ranking algorithms, and massive data centers working together in the background. And when you put all those pieces together, something remarkable happens. You ask a question, and in less than a second, one of the largest computer systems ever built finds the information you're looking for. The next time you type a question into Google, it might feel like the answer appears almost instantly. But now you know what really happened behind the scenes. Long before you ever touched your keyboard, millions of web crawlers had already explored the internet. They discovered new websites, checked old ones for updates, followed billions of links, and sent all of that information back to Google's massive data centers. There, every page was analyzed, organized, and added to one of the largest indexes ever created. So when you finally pressed enter, Google didn't have to search the entire internet. It searched its own carefully organized catalog instead. Then, in just a fraction of a second, thousands of computers worked together to understand your question, compare billions of pages, rank the best answers, and display the results on your screen. It's one of the fastest and most complex systems humans have ever built. And the most amazing part, it all happens so quickly that we barely even notice. A simple question, a single click, an answer in milliseconds. Yet behind that tiny search box is a global network of data centers, billions of constantly changing web pages, intelligent algorithms, and technology that never stops working. It's easy to take Google for granted because we use it every day. But every search is the result of decades of engineering, millions of computers working together, and an enormous effort to organize the world's information so that anyone, anywhere, can find an answer in seconds. And chances are, before today, you thought Google searched the internet every time you pressed enter. Now you know the truth. It was already prepared long before you asked.